Hello, Hofstra fans, and welcome to the WB Mason Coach Report with Hofstra head men's basketball coach Mike Farrelly. Mike, how are you today?
Hey, Stephen, how are you?
I'm good. How were your holidays?
Good. Good couple days with the family and most of the guys to see their families and everything like that. So it was great.
Well, let's get right into it. The holidays started pretty good for your team. Last Tuesday, you headed down to a familiar spot, the state of Virginia, and came away with a 76-71 victory over number 23 Richmond. Just give us your overall assessment of what was a really good day for your team.
Yeah, just a great game for the guys. Just were terrific, executing, stuck with the game plan, played all 40 minutes, and that's one thing. And I've said this before on previous reports, we've just been preaching about how do we play a full game? How do we play a full 40 minutes? And even against Richmond, we might not have gotten all the way there. There was a little bit of a lapse, maybe the beginning of the second half. They came out with a little bit more energy than we did. But overall, you might say it was a 37-minute game that we played. But certainly the closest to 40 that we've played so far. The energy was really good, execution, attention to detail, our effort defensively, rebounding, etc. So the guys were locked in. They did an unbelievable job. We've kind of been building towards that in the non-conference schedule and had a great game plan put together, and the guys executed. So to their credit, and that was all I asked Santa for. So he came through with that win, made for happy holidays.
And speaking of asking Santa, maybe Santa could provide another 12 Jalen Rays or something. 19 points in the second half, just another. He's got 80 points over his last 3 games. What more can we say about Jalen Ray, and what more can you say about what he's doing for your team right now?
Yeah, going over 1,000 points. And he didn't actually score earlier on, and you made that point. He scored most of his points late in the second half, especially when we needed them. But, he kind of let the game come to him. He did really good job. We tried to get Isaac going early on. We were able to establish him, and he was a constant force and presence for us in the low post the entire game. And then Jalen really got it going in that second half. He knew when we needed a couple big shots. Richmond got up by 9. I think 55-46, and then we went on a run where we hit 3 threes in 3 possessions. It might have been 2 for Tariq and 1 for Jalen, but we made that run, and then obviously Jalen with the huge plays down the stretch, Tariq with a great drive and dish to Kaivon down the stretch. But Jalen, what more can you say? He's been playing great, and that's what we're going to need. We're going to need that leadership. He's kind of developing really well into that role, and we've spoken more in the past about how we need him to have the ball in his hands late. He's going to be the one to score, make decisions, and he was great with that against Richmond, and we'll need him to continue that as we head into conference play.
This guy gets overlooked every week, and it's not by you. It's not just in general because of the season that Jalen's having, the season that Tariq's having, the start of the career that Kaivon's having. But Isaac Kante, you can't even put into words how important he is to do what your program is doing every day. Yeah. Can you just touch on how important he is to what you guys are doing?
Yeah, he's the biggest key, probably to what we do and establishing him. And look, some games are going to be easier for Isaac to get in the flow than others because of the way that people guard him. People are going to double. How are people guarding ball screens? Is the game going to flow for him? But we knew Richmond was going to be a good opportunity for him to have some post isolations and score the basketball down there. So establishing him early was very, very important and something that we need to keep doing throughout the course of conference play. But, he's whatever it is, 14, 15 points per game. He's leading the conference in rebounding. He's been great. He had a couple of games here and there in non-conference where it wasn't great, but he's starting to play better basketball. And the way he was against Richmond, he proved, against a nationally ranked team that he was the best big guy on the court.
And arguably, we're a little biased here, but the best story in college basketball this year is our freshman Kaivon Kromer winning second CAA Rookie of the Week this week. After just a really great game at Richmond, 12 points on 6 of 6 from the field, 5 rebounds in 21 minutes. Can you touch on his impact on that game and kind of his impact as he's growing this year?
Yeah, obviously his length and athleticism can certainly change some stuff. We feel like we're really good defensively. We're really good on the backboards, rebounding on both ends, when he's in the game, just because he brings a little bit of a different element for us. And then just continuing to develop his feel as a basketball player, especially on the offensive side of the court. When he's open on the perimeter, what to do when he's catching the ball. Is it, making quick decisions, trying to preach that to him where he's not standing and holding that ball, but continue to move that basketball and continue to help us stay on our flow offensively. But he's done a really good job, and the great thing about it is he's got so much further to go. He can get so much better and developing and growing. He's been working really hard, and it's great to see those rewards, everything that he's done. And we've all read the story by now. It's an amazing story, but all the work that he's put in, overcoming those injuries, the work he put in last year in the offseason to get to this point, and he's been a huge spark for us, and hopefully he continues to be.
And Mike, now you guys go from a 7-game non-conference season into conference play. Before we get into that real quick, how do you recap your non-conference season?
I think it might have been the hardest non-conference schedule we've had. 2 ranked teams, obviously playing Rutgers and Richmond on the road, at Bonaventure. All the other teams that we played, the Ionas and Monmouths, FDUs are all, top of their leagues and conferences, which is great. And coach always says you play your non-conference to get ready for conference play. So if it's Iona, because it's going to help you get ready for pressure, right? Richmond's going to help you get ready for teams that run motion against our zone, things of that sort. So I think we faced different styles in that. We've obviously faced really good teams and good players to help us get there. So you feel better about, kind of how we grew. And even just over the last 2 games, playing at Bonaventure with a horrible start and then came all the way back and didn't quite close it out. And obviously that's a lot on me and what I did down the stretch. But I think the growth from that game to the next game when we were able to close it out on the road against Richmond, so we learned so many great lessons and so many things despite the abbreviated non-conference schedule, which hopefully have us in a good place to get going into conference.
And conference gets going this weekend. Obviously a very unique season. You're going to play back-to-back days at home against the same team. And it really doesn't start with a better opponent because it's been the probably biggest rival of Hofstra since program joined this league. It's William & Mary this weekend. What do you look for as you start conference in a very unique way?
Yeah, so, I think the biggest thing has been, as a staff, we've been picking a lot of people's brains on how do you approach the back-to-backs. How do you approach it in practice the day before to get ready? What are you doing in between games to, make sure your bodies are fresh or as fresh as possible for that day 2, because certainly not used to playing on back-to-back days. Luckily, we did that with Rutgers and FDU earlier in the year, so we have a little bit of a feel for that. But that's been a lot of what we've kind of focused on leading up into this weekend. And then, yeah, like you said, Stephen, think about all the crazy, wild William & Mary games that we've had over the years. And even last year, they came here and we were a terrible performance. Half the team was sick. We did not play well, and they kicked our butts, call it plain and simple. And then down there, we rebounded and had a statement win and probably propelled us towards winning the regular season championship last year and played really, really well. So they're always, up to the task. Dane Fisher does a great job coaching them. They have a lot of fresh faces, very skilled team as well, but always, present challenges for us. And we always know, no matter, who's great, who's not, all this stuff, whatever the rankings say, doesn't matter. When you play William & Mary, it's going to be a battle.
It's interesting. It's kind of like the conference version of Monmouth, and Monmouth is the non-conference version of William & Mary, you could almost say, right?
Yeah, it's very soon. Like the quality of those games and the battles, and it used to be maybe a little bit more high scoring, but now it's a little bit less than the pace used to be. But still, you think about all those games and those battles that we've had, and certainly a very, very good opponent. We'll obviously expect to take their best shot this weekend.
Well, Mike, we wish you good luck, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you, Stephen.
And thank you, Hofstra fans, for joining us in the W. Mason Coach Report with Hofstra head men's basketball coach Mike Farrelly.